Hiya. Okay, so let's talk about waste. All right, filament waste, obviously. No other sort of waste. Not all of us can afford a new printer each time one of these new things comes out, like the Snapmaker U1. I would absolutely love one of those, but I don't have a spare £600 around. I know they're really cheap at the moment. It's cheaper to buy a Snapmaker U1 than it is to buy a PS2 combo from Bambu. But with Bambu, you've got the advantage that you know it's reliable. You've got the advantage that you can increase on 4 colors by getting more AMS units, whereas you can't do that with a Snapmaker. You can only stick to the 4. So to help you with this, I thought I would look at showing you how to decrease your waste. One way of doing that is to use these infinity cubes. All right, so I'm going to show you today how you can do that by putting these into Bambu Studio. So when you're in your Bambu Studio, okay, it's a multicolour print. What I need to do is slice the print, which shows us here that the model itself is 19.45 grams, but the flushed is 33.96 and the tower is 10.65. So we've got 64 grams for one little rabbit. Bless her. Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do, first of all, looking at it, I'm going to go back into prepare. I'm going to go to others whilst on objects. Okay, objects on the rabbit. And the first thing I'm going to do on others is take off the brim, because I have got cryo plates on that will not be an issue in terms of making things stick. So that's not a problem. The next thing is to let you know, while this is actually, it's been selected, if you Command C, then Command V, you get a duplicate, all right? You get a duplicate. And if we now slice print, because we are looking at flushed, we've now got exactly the same amount of flushed and tower, exactly the same. So if you can fill your plate with these, go back to prepare. If you can fill your plate with these, it will cost as much in filament as it would for 1 as it would for 10, for example. Now, the reason why I'm doing this in Bambu Studio is because I want to include a Flushie. Now, a Flushie, if I go to here and add an extra thing and click in search infinity, I have an infinity cube and it says it's a flush object and we're going to import geometry only. So it will bring it into this place. Okay. Then whilst this item is selected, we're going to go over here in others. You can see a bit further down, we have flush into objects infill. And so what we will do on this one object, we will tick there and tick there. So it will flush into this object. So what you get then is one of these. Yeah, and it's all different colours. Can you see how this has actually been done in lines? Yeah, where I've had multiple colours. And I've made an infinity cube with what would normally go in the bin. So that's how you do a Flushie. Obviously, I'm now going to slice the print. Now flushed, we've got 14 and the tower is 10. Can you see how that's reduced? Yeah, because now we've got more on the model. If I go back to prepare, and whilst on this one is highlighted, do Command C, Command V, I've now got an additional flushed object. And because this one, the first one was selected as a flush into objects, infill and flush into this object, this second one will also be the same. So now when I slice plate, flushed is only 7.79 and the tower is still the same size. Now what you will notice is the time it takes to actually make this will have increased. As long as you don't mind the time, you will be able to almost eliminate the waste and be able to put it into something else. You could even put it into another one of the object that you're making. So that's an alternative too. Hi. So a lot of people don't actually think about subscribing or liking or sharing partway through the video. So I wanted to remind you so that you can help me get my followers up to at least 500. Once I get to 500, I will start doing lives. I'll start doing lives and show you things that I'm making and having fun with, or giving you tips. And you can actually ask me questions, which is no problem at all. All right. So I need 500 followers for that. So please subscribe. For example, this was actually Wednesday. I accidentally set it up so that she was going to be a flushie, what we call something that's made with the flushed material on your printer. Yeah. So she's a poop Wednesday, or Wednesday poop, or Wednesday flushie, whatever you want to call her. Okay. So I've got absolutely tons of these things, absolutely tons. And like I say, the reason being that I would then I can give them away as free gifts. Well, they would have cost me nothing because they would have gone in the bin. You can give them as free gifts. You could sell them for £1. You could, basically, the only thing that gives them the disadvantage is that they increase your printing time. So basically, with time it actually takes for these things to be made, you will wonder whether or not you want to just keep it flushed. The reason being that going from one rabbit to 2 rabbits doesn't give you any extra waste. So if you add on a couple of these, it takes your waste down to nearly nothing, which is brilliant, but it doubles your time. Yes. So it goes from 5 hours to 10 hours by the time you finish. So there we go. Brilliant idea to reduce your waste. Okay. There are other ways that you can reduce waste as well. A couple of the ways are, first of all, Bambu Studio app is really, really clever, and it works out how much poop is needed between different colours. However, you may find that you get some filament bleed. You may have a bit of black bleeds through onto white. So what you can do is you can adjust this up, but you can also adjust this down. So if you have some colours, it doesn't matter if they sort of meld into each other a little bit. You can reduce your waste by reducing those poop parts. It would actually purge less, okay? But it does mean that you will have some crossover, or you may have some crossover colour. For that, I would do experimentation and maybe print a couple to start off with to see how it goes, especially if you're going to go into production with these. It's worth it then to do it a few times to see how that would actually work, because you may find overall you can reduce your waste. Another way of doing it is to print in parts. I've actually got this one, which is Sean the sheep. Look, he's been printed in little bits, and I have the parts to, oh, I've put his head on. Run me around. Let me do it that way. Yep. No, that way. Yes, that's how he's going to be, isn't it? I haven't finished doing him, and his head's going to be there. I think that's his head, or part of his head, and this is going to be his bushy tail. Yeah, that's going to be his bushy tail. So these things, and there's his eye, and also another eye that'll go with it. There's a leg. Put a leg in there. Okay, the leg's not going to go on that one. Maybe the leg goes in. Aha, the leg goes in that one. The leg goes in that one. Yep, see, it's coming together. So with this, that's a great idea. However, what you've got to bear in mind, you have to glue it together. So if you're doing a large production of these, you're going to be there in a production line gluing them together as well. And that is not something that everybody wants to do. So this is great if you're doing a one-off or a couple. You know, just a couple of them is great. However, if you're doing, I wanted to put his arm in, it's not going to go in. If you're doing his arm, he's going like this. Yeah. If you're doing quite a few, then I would recommend the flushy route. All right, that's 3 different ways. And I know there's another one. I've just got to try and remember it. Let's just recap. We've gone through letting the poop make something else. So that's your waste poop into another item. We have got altering your flush ratio so that you don't use as much flushing between colours, which to start off with is a bit hit and miss. You have to experiment with that. We have printing in parts, which is actually the safest way of having hardly any at all. Another way would be to print with rainbow filament, so the colours are sort of made for you. If everything is in a rainbow colour, you have an item that's only printed with one filament, but it's lots of different colours. That's quite cool as well. And another one, I did it a few minutes ago, for reducing your waste. So my name is Lisa. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this little video and that you will like, subscribe and share. Thank you.